Welcome back, everybody, to HGG 2019 Group D, and D stands for Group of Death, as we always have to have one. And with Denmark, who I think were the least well-known, I don't want to say underdogs because they're incredibly strong players.
Sorry, I can't hear you because you've muted yourself in Discord.
Awesome.
There we go. Right. Okay, we're back in business. Crystal clear.
Except we're not. Okay, yeah, we'll work something out in a moment. Anyway.
Could you hear me? Are we all right?
Twice. It's great.
Oh, okay, brilliant.
Yeah,
well, I'll mute myself in Discord. There you go. You can hear me now, right? You can still hear me.
That's perfect. Thank you.
We got it. There we go. Do your intro. I'm sure it was amazing.
Welcome back, everybody, to HGG 2019. We are in Group D, the Group of Death, and we are going to go into remove a team match between the Czech Republic and Romania. And what I was trying to say during that amazing introduction is that with Denmark, who are one of the least well-known teams, even though they're good,
sure,
somebody big is going to get eliminated here now because Denmark have gone through.
That's right. I would say both of these teams are pretty powerhouse teams, you know, with RDU and Yala both kind of being the flag bearers of both of their countries. But I think, interestingly enough, you know, RDU was always going to be, after last year's performance and over entirety of Hearthstone's history, the poster boy for Romania and Hearthstone. You know, he is far and away the most well-known and accomplished player and streamer. But I feel like for the Czech Republic, after last year's performance, I would have believed you if you'd said that Faeli or Yala was the most well-known and respected Hearthstone player from the Czech Republic. You know, they both had very, very strong years last year in terms of point winnings. But Faeli, I think it's fair to say, had a better year last year in terms of getting to the top of tournaments.
Yeah, a couple of big finals, Norway and Singapore.
Yeah.
And yeah, just did a lot of stuff. Then he won the national championships this year, which Yala won the year before. So
well, there you go.
I think he took some time out at the start of the year for quite a while to gather his thoughts. That because the new system, he was one of the people who didn't benefit in quite a big way, so needed to get himself back together. But he is still very powerful, and like you say, it's going to be a shame to lose one of these two teams, but lose one we will.
We will indeed. So getting things started, it is the Druid versus the Rogue. Traditionally a very strong matchup for the Quest Druid as opposed to the Tempo Rogue. But, you know, to be fair, RDU and Romania have a decent little start here. Not all too much strong removal at the start of the game here for Faeli, especially with the pickup of the second underbelly fence here. This is a very, very sticky board now that RDU can put forward.
Yeah, the Swashbuckler into fence start is one of the most irritating to face in all of Hearthstone, apart from the one where they make a 16-16 Edwin on turn 1 or whatever rogues like to do.
Yeah, it's a good second.
Yeah, it is really aggravating. It's one of those that reminds me of the old Shaman starts back in the day where you just couldn't beat it. Well, you can beat this, but it is difficult.
Wow. Okay. We are looking at now, I mean, I was going to say this could be like an Acorn Bearer turn, or you could set up for like a turn 5 double 1-drop Edwin play. But now I think we're looking pretty clearly at a Shadow Step turn and make an 8-8 Edwin and very happily move on with your life.
Yeah, 8 being a very key number as well. Obviously, surviving Starfall is one of the things you aspire to do as a minion against a Druid. And they don't have the luxury that Shaman has of just punching you with a Bloodlust, so they've got to do it the old-fashioned way with things that stick to the board. And this looks like a pretty good way of doing that.
It really does. I mean, this whole hand for RDU is just shaping up beautifully. Both cards that he got off the steal effect have been fantastic, or I suppose all three actually, with the Acorn Bearer as well. But now Druid of the Claw and Bite are fantastic aggressive options. Faeli's just going to die.
Yes. Most likely. Trying to work out if you can do something with this double innovate, which is something they don't usually have. It's just kind of weird hand.
I mean, it's probably just swipe Vate on this turn. I guess there's some argument as to whether you swipe the 3-4 or the Edwin, because like if you're going to go Oasis Surge next turn, if you swipe the Edwin, you obviously take 3 more damage on this turn, but it means one of your Oasis Surges survives after you trade 1 into the Edwin and 1 into the 3/3 that's left over. It's a very obvious play that you're making there, like it's pretty heads up.
I think 3's a lot.
It is a lot, yeah, it's true.
So I think maybe you have to sacrifice the entire Surger next turn and then hope your Nourish pays off. It's really a close call, though. I definitely get what you're saying.
Yeah,
but you don't want to get too close to Leroy range.
I think I agree with you, but it's actually pretty close.
It is definitely close. Definitely a tough one. Because you'd really like to have a minion on the board to challenge. After you've killed the Edwin, there's more stuff coming behind it.
Absolutely. So now we're thinking, yeah, for RDU, it's obviously Oasis Surger and Swipe. How do we play around both of those as well as possible? To which I'm thinking Druid of the Claw, charge mode. That's not a bad way to start, right? Sets up lethal, it's good against Surger, and it's good against Starfall, I feel like.
I actually agree with you on that. It's it sets up a nice board where they're not going to kill both of the things.
Yeah.
And does a really crucial 4 more damage. Sounds silly, but does 4 now, 4 the next turn. Puts you really close to just getting some sort of cheeky lethal.
However, that oh, okay, this is interesting actually, because if you think they have Oasis Surger, you want to taunt the 1/4, because obviously they then both have to charge in, the Edwin gets to go face twice. If you think they have Starfall, then you want to taunt up the Edwin, because the 2 health means it survives.
Yeah, so you don't play around the second swipe, I don't think.
No.
So yeah, it's Starfall. Starfall's my preferred play around, but yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, just look at this. Because they made that play, 8 damage, stuck on board. Lethal, guaranteed. That's just
and that works a lot better than what we would have done. And yeah, there's just no way of killing these off. You might find a way where you don't die next turn, except you do because of the Druid of the Claw, but even if you find that, you're dead the turn after.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, you know, if we were seeing Vate Nourish here, it would have to be a Nubasath for there to be a chance. And Faeli realizes that, you know, the Oasis Surge just does not do enough here, so even though it's a very slim chance, I agree this is the only way to go.
Yeah, it seems like when we get into Druid games where the Druid's going to lose or is stabilised, there's 2 or 3 turns where you spend all of your time thinking about things that can't and won't happen, just in case they do.
And there you have it. Very, very convincing rogue game there by RDU. It was honestly one of the better rogue hands it's possible to have, I think it's fair to say, especially when you're on the play instead of on the coin. You know, he got the 1-2-3 curve, turn 4 made a huge Edwin, but all of his discussions were very useful. That was the absolute dream of rogue versus druid. But, you know, if we call it a 30% matchup, or maybe slightly more generously 35%, that's the 35%. That's what happens some of the time, is you're just able to get a nice big board at the start and the druid can't react.
But they do have the issue still of their warrior. We didn't get time in the amazing introduction to explain what is going on here. The Czech Republic have, I was going to say, hard targeted warrior in this round. Yeah, you don't bring the Zoth Rogue without hard targeting it. But Czech Republic have N'Zoth Warrior, N'Zoth Rogue, and their Druid. That sounds wrong.
Yeah, I mean, well, just because I didn't get to catch, or didn't get to cast the first match from Czech Republic.
So they've got N'Zoth Warrior, their Shaman's been banned, they've got N'Zoth Rogue, my favourite deck, and they have the Druid. So 2 of those 3 just beat Warrior, and 1 of them is Warrior.
Right. That makes sense to me.
So you want to run into a Warrior, basically, with your deck. But they're queuing up their one of their own first. Try to get the win against the Hunter. If they can get this win, then they have their 2 easy matches left to take on the Warrior at some stage.
I think I have a slight mistake here. On the website, it's saying that Game 2 is something different when I'm trying to look at the lists. But either way, okay. Hunter versus the Warrior next.
I wonder.
And weirdly, this is a matchup we haven't seen much. We've seen quite a lot of Warrior, and we've seen quite a lot of Hunter, but they don't seem to have bumped into each other very often.
Right.
in this year's edition of the Global Games. Just a reminder that Faili and Yala are in the same room, but Yala has the plague. So Faili's keeping his distance. Yala is collapsed on bed somewhere, advising from around the corner.
Sorry, I'm just a bit confused. It says on the website that this matchup didn't even happen. I guess there must be a slight mistake there. Oh well.
Website Keck W.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll just pay attention to what's on screen. Instead, actually do my job. Doesn't that sound like a novel idea?
I don't know. I've never tried it. Sounds terrifying to me. So electing not to play a secret. There's no real reason to play a secret against the warrior this early on. It's not going to do anything.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything.
If you think you can scare them into not playing something because you played a snipe, maybe. But no, let's just curve out and hit people in the face where we belong.
Ooh, that is a lovely card to find off the top, though, in the subject 9. Obviously, one of the key cards against warriors is just thin out your deck, because in those hunter games that always seem to pop up, where it's just card after card after card of powerful threat. You know, we're talking Savannah Jaime, and then Brad, and then Siamat, something like that. It's usually because they've pulled out all the secrets from their deck.
Yeah. The happy little smile of a happy Radu. It's always nice to see.
I mean, I guess that's pretty good for the hunter. I was wondering like how sad you are to lose out on the battle cry, but you just gained a 7/6 on board. Like, you're probably pretty happy.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you play it later in the game, the warrior's usually equipped to deal with it. So even if you have a good battle cry that, you know, Rush and Divine Shield, it's still just, or Wind Fury, it still just gets taken care of. So let's have a 7/6 right now.
Yeah, I guess you're trading in the Leok and the Snip Snap, and then, Wing Blasting in allows you to connect the 7th phase, which is a pretty big old deal, especially when you get down the Freezing Trap. So even if Reckless Mummy were to come into play now, it wouldn't even be able to clear anything off. Very nice play.
Yeah, and the Brawl, I mean, you're entitled to win this. 1 in 4, that's how numbers work. And even if you don't, Subject 9 is going to thin out the deck.
Yeah.
That's pretty grim, though.
I mean, all things considered, this was a strong exchange for Hannibals and Romania, I think it's fair to say. Obviously, drawing 3 secrets is a bit rough, but even if this just draws 2, like a 5-mana 4/4 that draws 2, eat your heart out as your Drake.
I think the discussion here, and rightly so from what we can see, is what do we do about Dynamatic? Well, against Warrior, you just have to suck it up sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, look at that, it's 3 even. Disgusting.
But this does represent a big turn for the Warrior. Not quite enough damage has gone face, even though it's felt good for the Hunter so far.
Yeah.
And that means, obviously, Dynotamer Brand becomes significantly less great. Still nice.
Yeah, it's still absolutely what you want, but I agree. It's not a game ender. Ooh, the big axe.
Things get a bit more exciting.
Yeah, this is starting to look very powerful for Hannibals. I mean, now it's really just a case of not falling behind on board, really. As long as they can stay even, they should be able to keep up the pressure, I would say. Assuming they can get some good cards in the next few turns, because they got Ziliax this turn is pretty powerful, Dinotamer Bran on turn 7, and then they probably take turns 8 and 9 to load up a bunch of secrets for Zul'jin. But after that, they do need to find something a little bit more scary.
However, looking at the other hand, the Czech Republic have got nothing.
Yes, they're a bit lacking in removal.
They will be dead by the time they can play any of their cards. Obviously, the remaining cards, the deck is full of removal right now. But the Czech Republic do need to pull one of those cards out of the hat very soon, or they're just going to die to the Bran and the turn after. He trades.
Interesting. What does that play around? Warpath? No. Magnetization? I guess, but there's still a freezing trap in play, right? I guess maybe it's about protecting the freezing trap. They want to bounce something a little bit more impactful in the next few turns, which You know what, I can actually get on board with that. That makes some sense. Because a lot of the warrior minions at this point are quite clunky and slow.
Yeah, and also Romania have very little to actually defend their board with, so if the warrior does get a minion or two to stick, you could end up in the weird world where your hunter deck actually loses the board to the warrior, and then you are in trouble.
Speaking of being in trouble, that is a Dino Tamer, Bran, and a King Crush. And there's no way to clear them off. Unless you win the brawl, like an absolute madman.
Job's done.
1 in 3 chance. That's how numbers work, as always.
Yeah, okay.
That'll do. They'll take it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, as I was
weirdly
thinking,
enough, that's completely neutralised it.
Yeah, it has actually. It was a big deal, and I think it was the correct play, undeniably, for Fael here, because he realised 2 out of 3 times you're very happy. Curves into Dr. Boom as well, and you know, in the Battle of the Death Knights, while Zul'jin undeniably has a bigger front end with all the battle cries and spells that it will be able to trigger again, the value in the late game undeniably goes to Dr. Boom when you consider the amount of removal that it can put forward.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't kill them maybe 2 turns into the end of the boom, you're just done because the value will grind you down.
That's right.
I'm actually quite happy with boom since the nerf. I think 9 has made it really annoying to play and to play against, which is the perfect balance of, like a balanced pencil.
Yes, exactly like a perfectly balanced pencil on its tip. I wasn't the only one who did that though. Like, did you ever try and balance a pencil on its point?
I used to do, yeah, anything
Stupid
that would
stuff like
occupy my mind.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Anything to not pay attention in school.
Yeah, basically. For those people wondering how you become a caster, just balance pencils in school on their point and you're good to go.
Yeah, explains so much. That and eating
Last time
chips.
Garrett was on point in his entire life.
Hey, there we go.
Got one in. Still struggling here. Obviously, they can now warpath things away. They are scared of the rat trap, though.
Yeah, that's where it gets messy. Like, Snip Snap here. Obviously, there's freezing trap, but they can still get 2 snippety snappities that rush in. Oh, amalgam. Insta-pick.
Wow. Everyone's playing the wrong game.
Yeah, where's my light fang?
5 turns time. This will be a 27-32 poisonous divine shield minion. That'll be difficult for Hunter to deal with that deadly shot.
Wow, okay, they're just activating the rat trap.
Yeah.
Huh.
It does free up.
I mean, it took off 3 damage from the board, so, like, I guess it is technically gaining life, but that doesn't feel good. I mean, well, if they just played it twice, that would have been 1 less damage on the board than if they'd activated the rat trap. Because there was only 5 at that point, with the 2 2/2s taken out.
Yeah, and it's gone. There's one thing about rat trap I've learned is sometimes you have to activate it to actually move on with your life.
Kind of.
This might not be the ideal time.
Yeah, I think it might have just been a double warpath there and then leave it. Because next turn you can start running things in with Snip Snap, which means you're much more likely to be able to clear off a rat trap. Yeah, I'm not sure if I like that.
Just maximising their Zul'jin. They had a chance to just launch it, but...
It also just gets that hero power again, which is a big deal.
Yeah, there's a 1 in 3 chance of kill commanding your own rat as well.
Sure. Yeah, that's true.
Which might be a way you can actually lose this game.
Yeah. But the real problem now for Faeli is really just the N'Zoth is inactive. It has nothing to go with it at this point, with no Kartut defenders being found, Snip Snap unplayed from the hand. It's just doing absolutely nothing.
Oh, Hunter Secrets. The hidden bonus about Hunter Secrets is how long they take to animate.
That's right.
2 mana, waste 5 seconds of your opponent's time and do something. Alright, start again. Could do with Call of the Wild on animal companion or something, right? Oof.
I mean, it's got to be Zul'jin time now, right? Like, everything else is way too slow.
I'm just trying to think what they've got in there apart from the secrets, yeah.
Like Animal Companion? Kill Command?
I wonder.
It really isn't very good.
It's really not. But is it worse than just Hero Power Spellbreaker? It can't be.
We'll find out.
It just has to be better. Like, even if it just gets Huffer, that's pretty nuts. It's potentially lethal.
Uh-huh. Or it gets Huffer and kill commands itself.
Yeah, that is the potential as well.
No!
That happens.
I'm not convinced this was the right play. I'm really not. There were two chances to kill your one minion. I mean, it's absolutely grim. You've also missed out on 2 damage.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
I don't want to criticise it because everything looked absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
This would be a good time for a master plan.
And what could they do though? You can't play Unleash. Like you say, the other option was play a spellbreaker that you really want to hold on to in case they finally find their cartouche.
Mm-hmm.
And hero power. Oof. It just wasn't a pleasant choice. Personally, I'd have pushed it one more turn and got Call of the Wild.
Fair enough. Yeah. Just get it, forehead. This feels like a much easier choice, though. I think Ziliax here looks incredibly powerful. Even when you're messing about with all the secrets that could go wrong, you just pick it. It's just good.
Yeah. And the break in the action is going to allow them to probably slam their Thaurissan. They're very aware of the Unleash, but seems like a good trade-off to me. Maybe they want to play Ziliax first and then put Thaurissan behind it. There's also Ziliax Amalgam should survive. But yeah, here you go. This makes the future turns so much more easy.
Yeah, you're not activating Rat Trap, you're starting to get some of that tempo that you were talking about. And just the fact that you're so much more likely to be able to stick a Amalgam with a Ziliax magnetized on is all the difference in the world.
One thing we now know about Amalgams is they work with everything. We already knew that, but you know, it's now ingrained completely.
Oh, can you imagine Ziliax in Battlegrounds? That would have to be like a 20-star unit, right? Because gaining health is so illegal.
Yeah, it would have to heal a random minion, and he'd still be good then.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, gaining health, he cheats. It's like, you're on 273 health. And your opponent with heads up has to beat you.
Go past max, it would still be busted.
Yeah. There's some cards that I think would need adapting slightly.
For sure.
Can't even die frenzy a dog.
Yeah, until Filey plays something, you're stuck not doing that. And the real problem is, though, that as soon as he plays something like Ziliax, you of course want to go Spellbreaker, Unleash the Hounds, plus Dire Frenzy to be able to push it all face.
Yeah.
But you don't even have the mana to do that.
I agree with you now about the Zul'jin the more I think about it, because they're in so much trouble they had to try and get the lucky lethal, I think.
Yeah.
If it goes kill command face and Huffer, you just win the game, like you said at the time. And looking how this is now unfolding, I think that might have been their best chance.
Okay then.
The value game, because they're not winning the value game, and a lot of the time we can see the hand.
I feel like that's the chances of it being exactly Huffer and exactly kill command face in exactly that order to get the beast synergy has to be less likely than just drawing Power of the Wild off the top, or sorry, Call of the Wild off the top.
Yeah, it's a very tough decision, as are many decisions in this game when your hand is awful. Here comes the Rat with a Spellbreaker and a Hero Power. That's just going to be the game.
Well, no, because the Freezing Trap can be dealt with, right, and then Ziliax can rush in to kill it.
Okay. Good point. Well made.
It would have been GG, but fairly clearly knows what he's doing here.
Yeah. They know what
He
was
tested for all that.
well.
Yeah. So, still can be silenced, of course, and then could even be a Dire Frenzy hero power on this turn, which is, what, 257 damage? It's quite a lot, to be fair.
Oh, they're going to load up.
Yeah, this makes sense to me.
Point that stuff at Dr. Boom.
This has to be an all-face play. It's the only way of winning. 100% agree that everything should go face. But that does not, of course, mean that it's actually going to work, sadly, for Hannibal's.
I wonder what Czech Republic think Romania's hand is at this point. Because it's quite relevant to what you do. Given those two cards, one of them's been there forever and the other one's not been long. I think they probably nailed the Unleash as a card. They just actively weren't playing minions a lot of the time, or minimum minions.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that fuse thing.
Okay, so this trade frees up a little bit more mana. And of course he wasn't going to go face anyway because he doesn't want to activate the explosive trap to take any more damage. Having a single minion in play is a little bit risky though, as we are now looking at very, very close indeed to lethal for Hannibal's.
Yeah. But I have got the 7 armor coming next turn.
That is a huge deal. So it has, like, okay, sorry, I was going to say it has to be Unleash Dire Frenzy Hero Power face. It does not have to be that. But that looks pretty tempting, right? I guess alternatives being Desert Spear face, trade in the 1/1 Hero Power.
Your opponent's going to play a Kartuk you can't deal with anytime soon.
Yeah,
11 cards left in the deck. The clock is ticking mercilessly. I think you have to just get the damage in. And obviously, it doesn't work very often.
Yeah.
And then next turn, draw another dog.
You sound like my art teacher when I was balancing pencils.
Stop balancing those pencils, Brown.
Draw a dog.
Draw another dog. Alright, well this is lethal this way round next turn as well, in the world where nothing happens.
Yeah.
And your opponent forgets to press their hero power. Good grief.
So that draws a minion from the deck, which could be the Ziliax, because the first one was discovered. So there's still another Ziliax knocking about, I think.
Yes.
I think so.
That
and Harrison is absolutely fantastic to keep up the draw as well. Kartuts can only be so far away now for Hannibal's.
Or can they?
Still nothing. Nothing.
6 cards left. N'Zoth Warrior really pushes its luck. It doesn't play like, say, N'Zoth Priest, well, Resurrect Priest, where you get a million of them. It really does just push its luck on those.
It does. Fastest Call of the Wild you will ever see coming onto the board here for Hannibal's. But now things are starting to come together for Faele. We are looking at the Kartut Defender is playable here in like a worst case scenario play. I mean, even like, what could the play be? Just Kartut, Mummy, Shield Slam clears the board.
This would be a good time for a master plan.
Yeah, I mean,
that
sure.
seems good. There might be something better, but if you can't find it in time, that seems perfectly good enough.
Yeah.
Actually, that's based on what the last secret is. I can't actually remember what the last one was.
Okay,
Probably
then.
explosive. I don't think they've hit
yes.
face yet.
Yes, you're correct. So that doesn't affect it at all.
And all the other cards don't really have the desired effect, I don't think.
Yep.
Oh, I love that fuse thing.
Plus you've got Nazoth. Yeah, I mean, there were other ways of clearing, but not getting the card tilt down doesn't seem to make much sense. So yeah, get it down. You've seen all the power cards now apart from Zephyrus.
Okay, so this is exactly the same, except it uses up a whirlwind instead of a mummy.
It's fine.
Which, like, at first glance, definitely seems better, because mummy is like a better, more versatile card than whirlwind, but you do have the Plague of Wrath in hand. Probably doesn't matter, honestly, because I think you've seen all the big boards that you're likely to see for this game, so I'm not massively opposed to it at all.
Yeah, check the list in case I'm missing one. I'm not quite sure why this Dire Frenzy hasn't been played on the dog yet. There must be a little combo I am missing. Oh, maybe they're waiting for Unleash the Beast.
Okay, yeah, 8/8 rushes, maybe gets there.
That's certainly how you used to play this matchup back when Hunter had 2 of everything.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm not sure in this situation exactly it's been correct.
I wonder if just playing the Boom Reaver here is the play, because you're pretty likely, like, you must be close to guaranteed to getting a Cartut Defender here, right? Which would be insane off of the Boom Reaver.
Yeah. Yeah, there's 4 cards left in the deck, so...
Right, like, one of them's a Cartut. I think one of them might be a Ziliax as well, so I think I preferred the Boom Reaver there.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
Just because, like, another
But then maybe
mech,
they're thinking...
like, I don't really care about getting another mech here, honestly.
Sure.
Not that much.
Is there a world where they don't get it done? No, because they've still got Nazoth, so...
Yeah.
There's no world where they don't get it done. Like, in terms of attack values, I mean now, not in terms of...
Yeah.
Defending, they're not going to die through natural causes anytime soon.
Gaining 1 billion armor. Also, by attacking face into the explosive trap and giving the weapon here, they're basically just saying to their opponent, right, go on, I'll make it easy for you. Just kill the bloomin' Cartut Defender. I'll give you the weapon to kill it. Just kill it off for me, please.
And end this.
This is basically the Hearthstone universe equivalent of pull my finger. It's like, kill my Cartut. See what happens, I dare you.
This gonna hurt.
Oh my. Looking at the 2 hands, no longer looks like anything resembling a fair fight.
Mm-hmm.
Or even a fight.
What I gonna do with you?
Yeah, that number's going in the wrong direction, Hunter Man.
Yeah, I mean, it was down to like 5 earlier, right? It just keeps spiraling up and up and up, though, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. Okay, I guess the Boom Reaver could have got a Town Crier. Maybe it was bad.
Picturing the Czech Republic conversation, it's like every turn I can imagine Foley just wanting to slam Boom Reaver and Yala saying, but the value, we can press the button and get some value. And what is admirable about it is they're being precise even when they're miles in front, which is something that teams last week, 1 or 2 that didn't get through, sort of cost themselves.
Oh yeah, look, there's the Zillions. I can totally imagine though as well, in every argument that Faeli and Yala are having here, it always ends with Yala on the bed just going and Faeli has to go with it because he feels too bad.
Yeah.
Alright, Zephyrus. What can Zephyrus offer? Tyrion, as a first thought, both weapons projects have been used, so that doesn't sound too terrible. But with the with Nazoth coming down some point soon, you have to start considering removal as opposed to even threats at this point.
Yeah. I wonder if Pyroblast is just the best thing.
Oof,
Nothing's the best thing. I can't think of a card in Hearthstone that works. See what they get offered and what they end up taking. Yep, 3 blank spaces. That just about sums it up.
Yeah.
In the world where something happens, I guess Tyrion, but they still have the Dire Frenzy and Beast to come. So.
Yeah, this is not the world where anything happens. Back up to 35 health here and rising for Faeli. Boom Reaver, I think, guaranteed a Carter as well at this point. Is absolutely nutty. Last card Carter, that is illegal.
Wait until the zap turns up and it's like, right, now's the time. You're not wasting any value this time.
Alright, I think that's a concede. There we go.
Thank
Game
you.
2. Very handily going over to the warrior there. It was looking a little bit close there in the middle, but I think in the end, Faeli knew exactly what he was doing. It's him and Yarla for Heck's sake on this warrior. They are the masters of closing out these weird, control-y, mid-rangey battles.
Yeah, and close it out they did eventually. It did look, like you say, a bit scary for a while, but the anti-warrior strategy is now really boosted for the Czech Republic because they've got rid of their 50-50.
Yeah.
And even forgetting the hunter for Romania there, Czech Republic have 2 very favourable matchups to come. Remember, this is a N'Zoth Rogue. And N'Zoth Rogue does one job, it does it very well, and that is it destroys warrior decks.
Yeah, I think they are in a very, very good spot.
It does, however, take a long time to destroy warrior decks. So with that in mind, let's take a very short break and get ready for what could be a long second half. Welcome back once again to this match between Romania and Czech Republic. Just addressing 1 or 2 points we've seen in chat. The main one being this is the second round of groups. This is the top 16. We kicked out half the teams last week. They're gone. We're doing the same against this week. The top 2 go through to the 8th round of 8, that is. So if you're wondering why they're playing in another group, we've got more groups yet to come. Lots of groups means lots of wins needed to prove who the best team is.
Yeah, it's a pretty grueling process, actually, all things considered. I mean, even though half of the groups do end up going through, just getting a half and then a half again, and then having to go through a top 8 at the end of all of that when you're up against the best players in the world is not for the faint of heart.
And we have been spared for the time being the Nazoth Rogue match. We have got this Hunter going into the Druid. The pencil is back. Finally balanced. This is one of the most interesting matchups in terms of balance. Joking aside that there is, the Hunter can definitely get it done, and it's the usual thing with the Druid. The second it goes past that tipping point, you just can't really get it back.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. Like when you compare it to Druid versus Rogue, as opposed to this Druid versus Hunter, Rogue has a lot more explosive early game capabilities, with Edwin questing a lot of the time and a couple of underbelly fences being rushed out. Like they can have much stronger early games, but they need to have much stronger early games because their late game peters out a lot more quickly. Whereas the Hunter, early on, there's no real super explosive play you can make outside of, I suppose, Zephyrus or a huge Secret Keeper if you're extremely lucky. But you curve out much, much better because you have Siamat, Subject 9, Dinotamer Bran, Ragnaros, Zephyrus later on. You have a whole bunch of huge threats.
Yeah, and Bran's a big deal because the Druid basically doesn't have any taunts. It has bits and pieces hanging about, but it usually defends itself by clearing up everything that's on the board at the moment. So 8 damage just out of thin air is a big deal they have to worry about.
Really is. Interesting spot now for Faele, where he has plenty of tools available to fight back against this, sorry. Like, for example, we could be looking at a Innovate Loti Rush here to just charge in and take out the Misha. That, of course, has the downside of using up a Loti, which is one of the best cards. And there's a secret. You have no idea what it is at the moment. And Freezing Trap or Snipe would mess you up pretty badly.
So, with Hunter having terrible 4-drops, how ridiculous, it's not ridiculous at all apparently, is Innovate Swipe here, because next turn you don't need anything. Hunters, I mean the 4-drops in the Hyena Alpha, which is obviously a problem. Yeah. Then you're looking at Mark Shot, Wing Blast, Spellbreaker, all stuff they're not going to play anyway. So you get your turn back on turn 4 a lot of the time here.
Yeah, I think it's actually a very smart play, because I was going to say, if there was no secret, you'd probably go for Loti there and just rush it in to curve into the Oasis Surger on the following turn. But because there's a secret, this goes, like, there's nothing that can mess this up with Vate Swipe. The worst that can happen, I mean, there's nothing. Like, even if it's the Pressure Plate, nothing happens, Rat Trap doesn't proc, it always works out and kills both the minions. And I think because of that, it's a very smart play.
Yeah, the only punish really is Hyena Alpha, and no one's keeping that in their opener. So if they haven't drawn it in their first 3 or 4 cards, they haven't got it. And now you're back on course. Obviously, you're a turn behind, but the Hunter's a lot more behind.
Loti coming down as Taunt is not something that you see all too often at all. Kind of funny. But, I mean, hey, it makes a good amount of sense, right? It's better against Snipe, of course, because it doesn't just die instantly. And it's good against these 1/1s as well. I think I like it. Yeah,
you don't normally you see it with a Taunt, even in the 4/6 Taunt Ether, but it usually just kills itself the turn it's played, or it's stealth to the entire game. One of those two choices. For sure. So even then, the Taunt's not usually relevant, even when you get everything. So yes, amusing.
Most amusing.
I am easily amused.
Oh, this is a tough sequence actually, because if you're afraid of Pressure Plate, you want to attack with your minion first into one of the 1/1s. But if you're afraid of snakes, you probably don't want to attack into anything at all. So the ordering does get pretty weird. But I guess because you so desperately want to kill off the 4/4 with Wrath and Hero Power, you're going to be proccing snakes anyway. So this makes sense to play around pressure plate as well as possible.
Easy for you to say. One of the amusing things about this Hunter deck is if you look at stats on replay sites, the win rate goes down against basically everything as the rank gets higher, like gets better.
Interesting.
Because the main weapon that Hunter has is the secrets.
Yeah.
And so the better your opponents get, the less effective your secrets are. As a rule of thumb, obviously you can play your secrets better, you can hold them back for the right times, that sort of thing, but your opponents just walk into things at rank 25, then at rank 10 they walk into some things, and by the time you get to Legend, they're pretty much playing around the secrets perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me personally, I don't think I've ever correctly played around a secret once in my life. Like, it's so hard to do correctly.
And as we saw earlier, we saw Romania against the secret deck just throw away Spirit of the Frog because they didn't want to mess around with any of that nonsense. Rightly or wrongly, but that's how they chose to play around it.
It is a tough turn here, to be fair to RDU. Like, most of the secrets are not good here at all. You don't want secrets versus Druid. The only reason that Subject 9 is good is because you just don't have to draw the secrets. You get to draw them from your deck through the Subject 9, so your draws get a lot better. But here, you know, you don't really want to play any of this.
Yes. Yeah, it's a massive difference between Subject 9 and Mysterious Challenger.
Yeah.
Because you really don't want to be messing around with some of those Paladin Secrets. But you don't have to, it just puts them on there for you. Yeah, we'll have that. Well, Hunter's going to have to show its metal here because it hasn't got the early damage in, thanks to that Innovate swipe on turn 3.
Yeah.
And now they've equalised a complete quest. Yeah.
And this is the dynamic I was talking about, right? If you were a rogue as RDU here, the game would be over because you just don't really have the late game punch to be able to fight back. However, if RDU is able to find Ragnaros, Zephrys, Call of the Wild, Zul'jin, he could pull this one back if he gets those late game bombs.
Yes, yeah, the Druid can't afford to mess around here.
For sure.
We might see them start to just do things we don't normally see, like play an Oasis Surge onto an empty board and occupy board with stuff and try and kill the Hunter rapidly. Which they could do with this Cenarius, King Ferris and Fluke very, very easily. Only if they don't die then.
Ooh, so what are we looking at? There is a Surger, double Surger potentially that we're looking at. Or just swipe plus Surger. That'll get the job done as well.
Yep.
Yeah, easy peasy.
Swiping the correct minion, even though swiping the 4 health and the 2/1 health looks like it's the right play.
If your name's Lorinda.
Both of your Surges into your... Hey, I look for the obvious numbers. 4, 1 and 1. Swipe. Boss, done.
No, it was good. So, Hyena Alpha finally able to come down, but it's actually just at a bit of an inopportune time. So maybe instead we're looking at Ziliax with a couple of secrets? Fair enough.
Yeah, your odds was just getting even worse. That's the problem from here on in.
Yeah. Doesn't feel great, but it's probably the best you got. So there's a pretty powerful couple of... Sorry, I was going to say there's a pretty powerful couple of plays coming in. I'm looking at like Cenarius into Cenarius is a very, very strong 1-2 punch that is the kind of shapes that Hunter struggles to deal with.
Yes. Just looking at the ABC, like Cenarius into Cenarius, giving your Phaeris time to get some more spells in hand, then drop him.
Yeah.
It's very straightforward Hearthstone, but it just looks nice and tidy.
The alternative, of course, being that you could develop first on this turn with like Oasis Surger, Ferocious Howl Druid of the Scythe, and then go for Cenarius next turn when you already have a big board. And I don't hate that either.
Looks like that's what they're going to go for.
Yeah. But I suppose you also have to play around the potential of Rat Trap as well, which I guess locks out the third card being played. Okay.
Yeah. It still works though with Cenarius nicely.
Yeah, sure.
Zul'jin's a little bit better this time, I think, but still pretty grim than in the previous game.
I wonder if it was better to play the Ferocious Hell over the Druid of the Scythe, because it makes your Feoris worse because you played a spell, and you could have just played a Taunt in addition to your 2 Oasis Searches.
Sure.
I guess this procs the pressure plate, which is pretty nice though. But I think it was close.
You also just win in like 2 turns now if you drop Cenarius.
That's the thing. I'm thinking this turn looks like a pretty easy Cenarius push everything face, try and close out the game, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't want to let it rumble along. Hunter, oddly enough, can get value in that sweet spot a few turns from now where the Druid kind of waits. So yeah, just kill them. And don't let them get there.
Go. And like we were saying, these are the kind of minions that Hunter struggles to deal with. Like a single huge minion, you've got the, you got your deadly shots to be able to take them out. Maybe even a kill command can get the job done. But against a board like this, it's Zephyrus or bust.
Yep. And I think it's pretty bust.
Ooh. Okay.
I think it's
not
Zephyrus.
Bust yet. Okay. So we're looking now at worst case scenario, Zephyrus twisting Nether. But is there anything better than that?
Yeah, I don't think they can push. They're not that far off lethal with Zephyrus into Mass Dispel, but they haven't got the mana.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Plus, remember, you get the spell again next turn.
Oh yeah, off of Zul'jin. Right. Yeah, so do they want to get Shadow Flame instead? Can they manipulate it to do that? If they like magnetize Ziliax on? Well, that's not enough mana.
So, twisting Nether and then hope your Zul'jin goes off in the right order next turn?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
So you Zul'jin and then next turn hope you play Zephyrus, hope it twisting Nethers away all their stuff, and then you make your minions afterwards. That feels like your best out.
RDU has been thinking through similar stuff to this the entire game.
Yeah, he's found something that he likes much more.
This is not a Zephyrus turn. Wow.
Okay.
I thought this was the biggest snap Zephyrus of his life, but clearly RDU disagrees. He wants something a bit more miraculous. He wants lethal with the Zephyrus, I think.
So then it is going into Mass Dispel territory if...
Yeah. Well,
this board never survives.
That is very brave.
Oh, he's looking for Bloodlust.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking, like lethal in the next couple turns.
Well, next turn, if Fady clears the board but doesn't have Swipe or Starfall, and you get all the 1/1 doofuses.
Ah.
And then you Bloodlust on all the doofuses.
Right, okay.
I don't know, that's all I got.
It's something. Especially as the Rat Trap is still up, so it gets a little bit harder to even clear off this board.
If it had snakes, this plan would probably actually be really close to working.
Yeah. Wait, was that 1 damage off lethal there? Wow, okay. Like, if you'd gone with the Druid of the Scythe, that would have actually been 1 damage off lethal, crazily enough. But the Oasis Surge of bouncing back, obviously not that terrible.
Yeah.
7 mana for 2/5/5 rushes. I would take that bargain any day of the week.
So there's the things.
Yeah, clears off as much as he can. Bloodlust no longer does it, as it's only, what, 9, 12 damage.
Yeah. 13, 14, 15. Can't make any more than 15.
Yep, me neither. So, does that mean we're looking at a different kind of Zephyrus? One that clears? Can you get Flame Strike? Because Flame Strike is a fantastic card to get in the Zul'jin as well.
That's a good point, because then you don't have to worry about the mess.
Yeah, maybe if you go hero power, you can get it to give you Blizzard, and then you can try and just cheese out the game from there. Blizzard into Blizzard. I wouldn't hate it, honestly. Yuck.
Thanks, Zephyrus.
Tyrion. Ugh.
Your opinion has been noted.
Ugh.
We would like to subscribe to your newsletter.
What a load of old tosh.
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
How about you gain 10 armor?
Good start.
And then think about your turn.
I mean, you do need to consider if this is a rat trap turn. Like, this might be a turn where you just don't proc the rat trap. Like, for example, Hidden Oasis plus Druid of the Scythe looks pretty powerful on this turn. But if it is a proccing rat trap turn, absolutely you start with Kun the Forgotten King.
Ooh.
What to do?
So to do all that, you first got to work out how you intend to clear, and then work everything backwards. Ooh. Wow.
Alright, 6 drop and a 1 drop coming up.
That'll do.
Glad we could get Chia involved in some way.
That's hilarious. Yeah, anyone who hasn't seen Chia's tweet today won't understand that reference. But I have, and I do understand it.
Alright, good. It was a very, very niche reference. So, we are now looking at 3, 5, 7, 10 damage. Yeah.
Let's roll high.
Yeah.
They haven't got Call of the Wild, have they? They've got have they got even an animal companion in there to get a Leok or unleash the doggies?
Yeah, I think they do. But the problem is that Zephyrus didn't even get them a good spell, so it doesn't do that much.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. No. These need to be some prime quality mechs.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. There's a few taunts. Like, this is a good defensive wall that can already be erected. So you're probably not killing off the 6/4, so you have to trade off. What do you want to freeze back to the hand? I mean, any of these is fine, yeah. But none of them can be played again.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't even play Kunt with double innovate after it's been freezing trap. Did you know that, Gareth?
I did actually know that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've seen that direction before.
Somebody had informed me of this recently.
Okay, Rat Trap obviously still up. It was never procced in the first place for Faeli. So what's the best play this turn that only involves 2 cards? Because I think you're probably not looking to play 3 in a turn. I want to see a lot of damage go face, first and foremost. So, is this a minion healing Hidden Oasis or a face healing one? It's pretty good on the scenarios, right?
Oh, interesting.
Like, attack everything face. I don't know, maybe freeze back the 6/4. Freeze the 6/4. Push the other 2 face, and then Hidden Oasis your guy. Oh, but then I guess you're running into pressure plate.
I want to hit the Oasis face because I don't think that the Hunter will get enough damage to ever kill you at that point.
Yeah, okay.
I might be wrong there, but...
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to put the Rat Trap and put 6/4 into it.
Well, no, they're not, right? Because they don't have to... This still doesn't proc the Rat Trap. They could just leave it as 2 cards played.
But they can choose to.
Sure.
Which might be stupid. Or you can just do a whole chunk of damage.
They proc everything else, push the rest face, and say you have to be able to survive this, or you are dead. I think that was actually a pretty good sequencing there by Faeli. Played around everything quite well.
Yeah, realising their health total was low, but not low enough.
Yeah.
To be panicking, keeping back the Hidden Oasis.
The only thing I think you could argue on was maybe you were supposed to play Elise instead of the Crystal Merchant, because you don't really need it at this point to go for the infinite fatigue win condition. and it just survives on board is a better body. But I'm fine with this.
I think you might need some infinites here in some circumstances.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
The hunter does have a lot of irritating removal.
Because they're close, they're pretty close to each other anyway. You may as well give yourself the option. Worth remembering as well that this list has Sathravar instead of the Baleful Banker for Czech Republic. Yep. So they got some pretty beefy plays they can go for in the next few turns. Especially if this couldn't have forgotten King Stick spell.
Yeah, that snake's going for it. Go snake.
Go snake, go. Ooh. Ooh.
Sounds like the worst logo ever for a 1990s video game series.
Go snake, go.
Taglines that were rejected.
So if you want to play around pressure plate, you obviously want to sink some. You want to attack with your minions first, and I mean, is this a spell playing turn? You can get away with not playing a spell on this turn at all with just Crystal Merchant and Druid of the Scythe. And that seems to be what they're going for. Oh no, Hidden Oasis, okay. Ah. Okay. Oh.
Yeah, nice shot.
Nutty.
I'm not sure I've ever seen these scrolls before. I know they exist.
Oh really? I mean, and to be fair, if they hadn't played out the Hidden Oasis there, it maybe was getting a little bit scary with the Call of the Wild that we now see coming off the top. Like, you know, 5 damage Huffer, 2 and then 1. It's like getting close to 15, even if it's not quite there.
Yeah, and they actually give it up there, but relief, I think, for Czech Republic. I know they probably had it in the bag the whole time, but
yeah.
They'll be glad to see the back of that mess.
They will.
Talking of mess.
Yes, but that was definitely an expected win there. I think it's fair to say for the Czech Republic. There really just wasn't the the continual pressure that was necessary from Romania, because they reached that crucial tipping point where you forward and through, and then the hunter really needs to have some fantastic threats to have any kind of a chance at all from that point.
Right. Just double checking the exact list here, as it's not a deck that rolls off the tongue. The Zoth Rogue. And the short point being, draw Togwaggle Scheme, draw loads of death rattles, mainly Kartoots, play N'Zoth again and again and again, and don't die in the process. I still want somebody not to draw their scheme in the top 25 cards. I know the deck can still win, but I want to see just how bad that gets.
I mean, I think in this matchup, you could probably have a pretty good win rate without even having to find the Togwaggle Scheme at all, just because one N'Zoth would be more than enough.
And I think Pharaoh Cat into double Vendetta is a really good way of getting yourself to those later stages.
Agreed. Yeah. I suppose, like, the only awkward thing is you want to play out the mummy, but I think you'll quite happily dagger here instead.
Yeah.
Oi, oi, oi. To be fair, Hannibal's has a pretty good curve here, with the Zephyrus able to smooth everything out very nicely. And as well, just a few good curve cards.
I wonder if I've ever played against this on ladder with Shaman. Because it all looks the same and then you kill them, so you never find out.
Yeah, it's true. Oof. This play for RDU gets very strongly punished with the Vendetta Miscreant. Obviously, you can't expect it to happen. But even just backstab plus Miscreant, you know, by coining out the 3-drop there, he did open himself up to some pretty devastating counterplay. Whereas, of course, it could have just been a snake trap at that turn.
Yeah.
Which was honestly worth considering, I think.
Definitely. Curious what the plan for Zephyrus is here.
Yeah, like, do you care that much about coining out a 3/3 instead of just going snakes into 3/3 and keeping a coin the whole time? Because snakes can be really good against rogue.
That is a good point.
I think I might have preferred the snake trap there.
I think I'd like a nice early coin. A nice late coin, sorry.
Right, exactly.
To get
With
a
like
nice early
Zorgian in hand
Bran or
or
something.
Zephyrus. Yeah, exactly. Like in this deck, where you have such powerful late game threats, getting them out a turn earlier is a huge difference.
Now the rogue doing what it sometimes does best, which is playing like a normal rogue. Defend yourself a bit and hit your opponents a bit and get into all that turgid nonsense. As you can see, Applebaum into Cartoon Defender, the deck just looks rosy and lovely when it does this. They're just burly minions that are good enough with a much greater purpose later. I think Radu's face says a lot about this situation, as does Faley's actually.
Smug grin on one side and not like this on the other.
Yala's probably feeling quite a lot better at the moment. Still Greece waiting for the winners, though. They have already beaten the Czech Republic once, so job a long way from being done.
They have, and a reminder as well, this is not a winning in quite yet. This is a loser and out though, as it is the lower bracket.
Yeah, and it will be a shame to see one of these two teams go out, as it will in the next match as well. But what just this whole week's going to be like that. I think there were the USA and Germany and one or two others notable misses in week one, but most of the favoured teams did really well. So this week we really are going to be kicking out a lot of people's favourites, and yeah, some of the stronger teams are going to fall by the wayside because they're all playing each other.
So this board is clearly spiraling out of control for RDU and Hannibal, so they have to be imagining, I think, right now, how do we best set up a Zephyrus turn to swing things back, which makes a lot of sense. Trading in here with the Ziliax sets up pretty beautifully for Hellfire or Shadowflame, more likely on the Zephyrus to be able to clear up this board. So I think here for for Hannibal's, I really like this attack into the Applebaum instead of killing off the Miscreant.
Yeah, you don't have to panic too hard. Obviously, this board's getting scary, but it's unlike they're not going to suddenly Leroy you. It doesn't happen. This deck does give you a little bit of time to get your wits about you. Play into your Seamat maybe. You should be able to get there and take your chance from there on with the Zephyrus. But they are going to need quite a lot of luck from here on in terms of Czech Republic not picking up any more valuable cards. So it could just be over. Well, you're still only taking... you're taking a bit, actually. But where else do you get a chance to play the Unleash the Beast, given that you want it in your Zul'jin quite strongly? The secrets don't really cut it right now.
I'm trying to imagine any way where you can swing this back into your favour, and I don't think it involves Zephyrus on this turn.
That Mass Dispel to cut out the result.
Hex.
Oh, Hex to cut out the result. Okay, that's more sensible. They think they can last that long.
I just wonder if it should have been like hope to high roll an MCT play instead. But either way, this does, of course, mitigate the power of N'Zoth quite drastically.
Yeah. This says we're not dying and we're going to kill you even if you get N'Zoth.
I wonder.
What are you going to do with your army of stupid lackeys?
Yeah, it's a tough point. However, now for the next few turns, I bet you that is Hannibal's writing to Czech Republic. They're trying to troll them halfway through a match. But either way, it does now mean they have a few powerful plays in the coming turns. There's also a Hex in the pool for Zul'jin, so maybe they can get lucky with that and snipe off one of the other powerful Death Rattles.
Yeah.
Choose soon.
And just looking at the hands, I mean, they know a lot of these are lackeys. They are known, they don't know what lackeys they are, but it's known that half this hand is lackey stuff. Unleash the doggies required. It's not even that good. What a motley crew of absolute garbage. It's a lot of damage they build up though.
Yup. They're just
No
tempoing
eye
right
in
now.
lackey.
Like, they haven't even drawn most of the N'Zoth parts. It's just tempoing out turn after turn. And the Hunter's hand has just been so clunky that they haven't been able to fight back. I'm still not certain that I agreed with their Zephyrus plan, because it was clearly stronger against an eventual N'Zoth. But the problem isn't N'Zoth at the moment, it's just the fact that they're dying.
Yeah, I feel that their opinion was that they're going to resist this. And to be fair, despite the fact that it's been pretty scary, they're still quite away from dying to it.
Yeah, I guess.
It's not a good position to be in. They are looking like they will die to it, but I think it's reasonable vision there, the play they made, to assume that they had a chance. I'm not sure I like it either, by the way. But they clearly stating we don't think we die to this as often as we die by trying to be clever.
Yeah. And they have some strong comeback tools, you know, just see him out, Wind Fury Rush it, is able to take off most of the damage, or Unleash the Beast is not even too terrible in its own right. The really annoying thing, funnily enough, is actually just the frog that's in the way and stopping him from clearing off the important minions.
Yes. It's actually a big deal.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Clean crush
what a
into
time.
a frog.
Wow.
That's
A battle
funny.
for the ages.
Yep.
Well, I think you need to see him out rush and kill something. Wind Fury Rush. It's possible,
agree.
though.
Yeah.
And then next turn you've got Unleash the Beast and Kill Command if you're not dead.
Yep. You just got to start mopping this up.
Yeah, you declared that you can when you went for the weird Zephyrus play, so now you've got to
Taunt
make good
Divine
on that.
Shield. Okay, so they're going more of a defensive
Sure.
play than a proactive clearing play. I can get on board with this.
This particular Edwin, this deck, as you know, is overly irritates me. It's obviously fine. But Edwin in a deck full of 6 drops, obviously it's got lackeys and things. It's just bizarre.
It is very bizarre, I will agree with that.
Mummy needs 5 more minutes.
Okay, I think I'm happy tanking 6 damage here, so I'd rather trade away the dagger and a 3/3. Unless you're afraid of explosive trap, actually, is something to consider. But I really, really want to keep the frog in play. The frog is definitely the thing I want to survive most of all.
You also want to kill them next turn, so they don't even get a chance to Zul'jin some miracle out of there. Because you have faced a lot of spells.
Yeah.
Choose soon.
And you are out of stuff, because your N'Zoth's not really that great right now.
Brotherhood shall obey.
Do you find there's
Okay.
like one deck
This
every
seems fine.
expansion that you just don't like, even if it's not logical?
Yes.
Because this is
100%.
my opinion.
It's, for me, it's Quest Shaman. Like, it's an interesting deck. I think it's a cool deck. I just don't enjoy playing it.
That's fair.
I should, but I don't.
But you do enjoy Evolved Shaman.
Love it.
Mhm.
I think
There's
it
some
should be
Quest Shamans in this.
I think it's
Right,
problematic for the game, but I enjoy playing it.
Yeah, there's 2 sides there. I learned to not hate it as much through the last week, but something I've noticed with Quest Shamans, there's at least one in this tournament this week. They've started taking Mutate out completely now.
Interesting.
Because they win with value anyway in the longer games, and they basically don't go toe to toe with Token Shaman. They try and complete their quest and win that way. So why have the one mutate or the two mutates anyway?
Well fought. I can see.
And that is going to be GG then for Faeli and the Czech Republic. They're able to defeat Romania, which unfortunately means that they are our first team eliminated out of the top 16. It was a very, very dominating performance for them in the round of 32 until we ended up at this point. But there for Romania, even though I felt like their play for the most part was very strong, I disagreed with some of their plays along the way, but for the most part, it felt pretty good. I think overall, just their lineups didn't really stack up well against their opponents. They just got outguessed.
Yeah, I think when you start seeing teams making what look like weird plays, sometimes they're making weird plays, but these look like they were considered weird plays.
Yeah.
It usually means your lineup isn't stacking up well against your opponents because you're having to do weird stuff to try and find extra percentage points.
That's
because
right.
You're so negatively poised.
And like you say, it is sad to see RDU and Hannibal's go out. I'm also a big fan of the Romanian Hearthstone community. I'm a big fan of Romania, having now been there for the first time for the tour stop. It's a lovely place, but sadly, that is the end of their Global Games run for 2019. But Czech Republic, on the other side, Faeli and Yala, two players that I'm very fond of indeed in terms of them as people, but mainly them as Hearthstone players. I think they are very, very strong contenders heading up against Greece in the next game.
Yeah, they are going to have to reverse that first match, but it was super close. It was 3-2 to Greece last time around, but this is the time it's all on the line, and we're going to get that to you in 3 minutes.